Hello all, I am the Holland Phantom, and for today's video we're going to be answering the question, what's the highest retreat cost a Pokemon can have? But before we begin, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel and to my Twitter account, at Holland_Phantom, so you don't miss out on any new Pokemon TCG content. Retreat cost. In the trading card game, a Pokemon's retreat cost refers to how much energy has to be discarded from the active Pokemon in order for it to switch with one of its teammates from the bench. With relation to the mainline series games, a Pokemon's retreat cost usually correlates to that Pokemon's speed stat or to their weight, with faster and lighter Pokemon having a low retreat cost, while slower and heavier Pokemon having a higher retreat cost. Typically having a low retreat cost is preferred, as it means that a player doesn't have to expend many resources to move their Pokemon around, but sometimes a high retreat cost cannot be avoided, and they typically range from 0 all the way up to 4. So for the purposes of this exercise, we'll be using all the cards across the years to come up with a combo to give a Pokemon the highest retreat cost possible. To begin with, let's pick a Pokemon with the high retreat cost already printed. Now I realize that earlier I said the retreat costs go up to 4, but believe it or not, there's a small number of Pokemon with a retreat cost of 5, the highest recorded in the history of the game. And these Pokemon are Wailord EX from Sandstorm, Golem EX from Dragon, Steelix EX from Unseen Forces, and Mammothswine from Stormfront. So I'm gonna pick Steelix EX because it's my favorite one of the bunch. Okay, so let's make Steelix our opponent for this exercise. Now let's set up the cards on our side of the field to increase its retreat cost as much as possible. Immediately we have access to a couple of different Pokemon that have abilities designed to increase the opponent's retreat cost by 1. And these Pokemon are Alolan Dugtrio from Sun and Moon with the ability Tangling Hair, and Jellicent from Boundaries Cross with the ability Stickiness. If we fill our side with the field of these Pokemon, it increases Steelix's retreat cost up to 11 right off the bat. Alright, that's a pretty good start. Now let's keep going. Next, we can use the stadium to also increase our retreat cost, so let's start off by using Rocket's Training Gym from Gym Heroes, adding another energy to the retreat cost, bringing it to a total of 12. But we can actually use a better stadium, as Galar Mine from Rebel Clash is just a power-crept version of Rocket's Training Gym, increasing retreat cost by 2 instead of 1, and bringing Steelix up to a total of 13. Alright, this is pretty good already. Our retreat cost of 13 is likely to use up all the energy in an entire deck in the current format. But let's keep going even higher. There's actually another Pokemon we can use to increase Steelix's retreat cost by a bit more, and that is Dark Muk from Team Rocket, as it has a Pokemon Power Sticky Goo, which increases the opposing Pokemon's retreat cost by 2, but only works if Muk is in the active spot. So with this new setup we have a total of 14. Alright, this is actually a pretty good combo we've got so far. This is the highest we can go using only cards that increase retreat cost, but if we alter our strategy a bit, we can still keep going even higher. And to get there, we'll have to be swapping out our stadium. So instead of using Galar Mine, we'll be using Skyfield, which has the ability to increase the bench size for both players by 3, meaning that we can now have 8 benched Pokemon. And now our Pokemon lineup looks like this. Dark Muk in the active spot, and 4 Alolan Dugtrio and 4 Jellicent on the bench, increasing Steelix's retreat cost by 10 for a grand total of 15, which is insane. Most competitive decks nowadays wouldn't be able to pay that retreat cost, and they'd have to rely on trainer cards to rescue a stranded Steelix. So there you go. We finally found the right combination of cards to give a Pokemon the highest retreat cost in the game, which is 15. Well, sort of. If we stick to the typical format as played by most players, then yes, this setup is the best we can do. But if we change the format, we can keep going a little bit higher. And the new format I mean is the 2 vs 2 format that was introduced in the 3rd generation and further supported through the 4th generation. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the 2 vs 2 format is basically exactly what it sounds like, where both players can have 2 active Pokemon at once and only 4 Pokemon on the bench. The game is played the same for the most part, but only one of your active Pokemon can attack, and it can only hit one of the opposing active Pokemon, unless their attack states that they can hit both Pokemon at the same time. So what this means for us is if we switch over to the 2v2 format, we can now have 2 active Dark Muk instead of 1, increasing our total and bringing us to our final answer. Alright, now let's bring it all together. To get to the highest retreat cost in the game, we'll be battling in the 2v2 format. Steelix EX will be our opponent that already comes to the retreat cost of 5. Our 2 active Pokemon are Dark Muk, each increasing the retreat cost by 2, bringing our total to 9. The stadium will be Skyfield, giving us an additional 3 spaces on our bench for 4 Alolan Dugtrio and 3 Jellicent, each one increasing the retreat cost by an additional 1. And now we can finally answer the question, what is the highest retreat cost total in the game? And the answer is a massive 16. Almost enough to be a third of the entire deck. And honestly at that point, you're just better off letting Steelix get knocked out. So what do you guys think? Is there another way to increase a Pokemon's retreat cost even higher? Or do you have another question like this you'd like to have answered? If so, let me know down in the comments below. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow and reach new viewers. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, this is the Holland Phantom logging out.